Hello and welcome to the Album Man, and today it's time for a fairly overdue CDs and vinyl I bought recently. So quite a bit for July. July was a good month, quite a few CDs and a lot of vinyl. So let's start with the CDs. And, well, we'll start here. King Crimson's Starless and Bible Black. This one doesn't have a particularly exciting story. It's more that my dad found it. He doesn't really like King Crimson. I do, so he gave it to me. That's pretty much that. I can't say I got around to it yet, but I always get confused with this one because, of course, there's the song on Red called Starless, which features a chorus that says Starless and Bible Black, And this is actually, it has a track also, which is called Starless and Bible Black, which is then an instrumental. So definitely the former is the superior. But yeah, so, give this a spin eventually. Okay, this is very cool, this one. Baroness's Yellow and Green. God damn is this album amazing. Just end to end, it's stunning. I mean, from Yellow theme right to If I Forget the Low Country. Especially my favourite songs. Take My Bones Away, March to the Sea, Sea Lungs, EULA, let's see, I would also say Fall Song, The Line Between, it's seriously a phenomenon. How this bypassed me last year, I don't know. I don't know how I avoided this, because this is just amazing. Definitely want to go and see them. They're touring the UK in October. Very much plan to go and see them live there. I was that impressed by this album. Just an absolute monster. If you like, I love the diversity in it. You see, because I just heard it was sludge metal. Sludge metal is not a genre I've ever experienced. And I've heard little bits of sludge metal, but I'm not sure if I could call this that. It covers so many genres. There's even a song with synths in there. There's ballads, there's instrumentals, there's big hard rock songs, there's catchy chorus. It's just everything. When I was listening to it the first time, you didn't know what to expect from each song, and that's what I love. The diversity, the light and shade on this album is simply sublime. If I'd known about this album last year, it would have been in my top 5 albums of the year, without a shadow of a doubt. It definitely would have been contender, strong contender for album of the year, even rivaling Clockwork Angels by Rush, Flying Colours self-titled, and Anathema's Weather Systems. It's just phenomenal. Seriously good. And another fantastic album, Bob Dylan's Live 1966 Bootleg Volume 4. This doesn't sound like a bootleg, let's get this straight. I was always a bit sceptical of this. I was interested because this is the famous Roy Albert Hall concert, which actually was at the Manchester Free Trade Hall. And this is the one where it was on his controversial, I think it was the 1966 tour. And it was, after he had switched to electric, and on the song Like a Rolling Stone, well, actually it's on the end of Ballad of a Thin Man. It has basically a member of the crowd shouts out to Dylan, he shouts out Judas, and then Dylan replies, "You're a liar, I don't believe you," and then he goes into the most epic version of Like a Rolling Stone ever. I mean, it seems like he gets seriously pissed off by his players to call him Judas, and he just goes for it. I mean, just like almost the venom and bitterness in his voice. It's just phenomenal. Such a powerful vocal performance by him. And he just plays the hell out of that song. I mean, it's a fantastic song in the studio, but this version, just another level. Now, one thing, of course, saying bootleg, you might think, oh, ropey production. This sounds like an official live album. In fact, it sounds better than a lot of official live albums I've heard. The sonic quality of this is just superb. Seriously, it's 2 discs and features with everything. I mean, it features basically disc 1 acoustic, disc 2 electric. From stuff, proper acoustic version of Desolation Row, my joint favourite song of all time. Yeah, I've said conflicting things before, so I'll finally clarify it. So before Stereo to Heaven's my favourite song, so before Desolation is. I've now decided they are equal. I just honestly can't split them. So they're my joint favourite song. Great acoustic version. I do still prefer the studio. It's a great version here. I mean, the version of Mr. Tambourine Man, Leopard Skin, Pillbox Hat, Ballad of a Thin Man, Like a Rolling Stone, of course, as I've said. Just fantastic album. Really recommend it if you don't have it and you're a Dylan fan. And speaking of Dylan, there's a bit more to come, which is always wonderful. Yeah, so I went to a car boot sale, and I talked many times before, I love my car boots. And there was literally one of the most epic stores I have just ever come across. Everything was a quid. Literally just everything quid. Just a giant store full of just fantastic rock stuff on vinyl and CD, especially CD. Got a couple of vinyls on there, but just an absolute ton. Well, not a ton, but 7 CDs for 7 quid. And absolute bloody bargains at that. So, there's a lot of Dylan here, but I really wanted to go for the remastered ones. So I found Blonde on Blonde, the remastered version. I mean, it's Blonde on Blonde. What more to say? I've been wanting this album for a damn long time. It's epic. It's Blonde on Blonde, remastered for a quid. Another Dylan album for a quid. Blood on the Tracks, remastered. I mean, what more can you ask for? In my opinion, this is his second best album. With Highway 61 Revisited being my favourite of his. It's stuff like Idiot Wind, Tangled Up in Blue, Simple Twist of Fate, Lily Rosemary and the Jack of Hearts, one of my favourites, but there isn't a bad song on here. It's consistent, it's Dylan at the, his peak, it's certainly in the 70s, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, his best 70s album. Yeah, I mean, in the 70s, a bit of a mixed decade, some great stuff, some dodgy stuff. I mean, we had Self-Portrait, and then we had this. But yeah, for a quid, you can't complain about remastered Dylan. When I decided to go on a little whim, Curved Air, air conditioning, the first time. It's not remastered, but it was a quid. I've heard of Curved Air. They were at the Prague Festival I went to. They were on the Sunday. Heard a bit about them. This was released in 1970, so, in the first wave of Prague. I haven't got round to it, I have to say, but it sounds interesting. Give it a go. Oh, an album I've been looking for a while, and as I said, again, for a quid, how could I resist? Riding with the King, B.B. King and Eric Clapton's collab album, which features an epic version of Key to the Highway especially, which, well, we'll come to another version of that a little later in this epic stack. But yeah, I mean, B.B. King, one of my favourite guitarists of all time, saw him live a couple of years back, just love his way, and Eric Clapton, another fantastic guitarist. Together, they just, it's epic blues. Definitely one of my favourite B.B. King albums, and probably one of my favourite Claptons, though. We'll be getting to my favourite Clapton album in a sec. Okay, Jimi Hendrix live at Woodstock. This is 2 CD, again for a quid. I mean, it is, I think, remastered as well, which is cool. I mean, in my opinion, this is really the sort of the quintessential live Hendrix album. It has all the classics. I mean, everything from Hear My Trainer Come In, Foxy Lady, Voodoo Child, Slight Return, a 13-minute 40 version of it. It has the famous Star Spangled Banner, Purple Haze, Hey Joe, and, it's an epic. It's the quintessential live stuff for me from Hendrix. I definitely say it is, yeah. Don McLean's self-titled album. This, I think, was the album after American Pie. I do like Don McLean, pick it up from time to time when I see him. I have this, I have Tapestry, and of course American Pie. And yeah, I think Don McLean, aside from Dylan, of course, he's one of my favourite folk artists. They're the only 2 folk artists I listen to. Folk isn't really my thing, but Don McLean writes very, very interesting lyrics. I mean, if you listen to the lyrics, American Pie is one of my favourite songs of all time. And in that album, things like Vincent, fantastic portrayal of Vincent van Gogh, one of my favourite artists. And yeah, I mean, this is an interesting album. It's not as good as American Pie, but yeah, it's definitely decent. And quite expensive on Amazon. It's like 9 quid on Amazon. I wouldn't pay that for it, but for a quid, hell yeah. Talk about my favourite Clapton album. Here we have the remastered, Derek and the Dominoes, Layla, and other assorted love songs. I've been wanting this album for quite a while, and for £1, I'm not complaining. I mean, it has, as I said before, Key to the Highway. It has Layla, of course. It's just an amazing album. Eric Clapton, Duane Allman playing just such amazing slide guitar. Really great slide guitar on this album. It's some of the best I've ever heard, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, what's not to like? This is an absolutely classic album that every rock fan should own. Okay, onto the vinyls, and some of the ones I got this epic car boot. So, Santana Brexit might say, hold on, didn't you only show this last month? I did. Basically, well, I ended up getting an upgrade copy. It was, I said it was a bit sort of scratched, so another copy. This one's a lot nicer condition, so that's always nice. Braxis is an awesome album. Bit of Alice Cooper. We have Welcome to My Nightmare. Now, the actual package, whatever, sleeve is not great condition, but the actual LP is. I mean, it's a classic album, what more to say. This really is holy trinity of albums, obviously $1 Billion Babies, Welcome to My Nightmare, and School's Out. And yeah, I mean, I only have this. I really need a bit more Cooper. I love Alice Cooper. I have Trash, this obviously, and $1 Billion Babies, and that's it. I still need to get School's Out. Desperate for that album. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to be said about this album. Okay, so that was it for the epic car boot of epicness, I suppose. A nice little record shop that I found in Blackburn. Got some decent stuff. So, got some Scorpions, but pumped up my Scorpions collection, but it's always been quite lacking. I literally have Animal Magnetism, Sting in the Tail, and a best of, which for the Scorpions isn't good enough. So, as you can see here, it's Blackout. I mean, what more to say about Blackout than, it's Blackout. It's one of the most famous albums. Has awful album cover. Can't say I like the album cover particularly. It's nice condition, has Blackout, let's see, Can't Live Without You is fantastic. Yeah, just a really, really solid album. I like it quite a bit. Another Scorpions, Love at First Sting, with a definitely not at all provocative album cover. Definitely, nothing at all suggestive going on there. Bloody, what is it with the Scorpions album cover? I don't think I can name a single good Scorpions album cover. I mean, Animal Magnetism, the Bubblegum, and then of course Virgin Killer, which I don't think we really want to get into. But yeah, I mean, this has Rock You Like a Hurricane, the song everyone knows, Big City Nights, Still Loving You. Yeah, I mean, just those 3 songs alone would be epic. But the other stuff, yeah. Just another fantastic album, just one of those proper albums like Blackout. Bit of Saxon, you never have too much Saxon, and Strong Arm of the Law. For a Saxon fan, how I didn't have this was a mystery, but I have it now. I mean, it has Dallas 1PM, my second favourite Saxon song. It has the title track, 20,000 Feet, Heavy Metal Thunder. It's probably their best album, maybe joint best with Denim and Leather. But, well, I suppose no, maybe their best album's probably The Eagle Has Landed. But of studio albums, I'd say that and Denim and Leather are the quintessential Saxon, really. And then for £4, how could we resist a bit of Magnum? And this is, oh god, what album is this? This is, Goodnight LA. So this is from the more commercial period. It's not my favourite period of Magnum. But it does have Rocking Chair, which I saw on the last tour they played, which was good. And yeah, it's a decent album. It's hardly on A Storyteller's Night, or Into the Valley of the Moon King, or Chase the Dragon, or even on the 13th Day. But it's decent Magnum, definitely want to get their whole discography eventually, so I always pick up some good on Magnum. Okay, so, I went on a holiday to Paris quite recently, and so I picked up some vinyls there, got some pretty damn cool stuff. Well, started something I got for free, because I bought quite a few vinyls at a particular store. Got this for free. Poison's Open Up and Say Ah, and this looks pretty cool. The problem is, the reason I got it for free was because one side of it is very badly scratched. Very, very badly scratched. I mean, basically, it was, I bought quite a few vinyls, about 4, 5 from the store, and my dad sort of pointed this one out. It's like, oh, Poison. So I had to look at it, and the guy was just like, you can have it. And he was like, okay. Looks at it, and it's like, okay, I can tell why it was given out for free. It's not really playable. It's more just a cool album cover, and I'm just going to use it. So I might listen to the first side. I think that's playable. But yeah, I like Poison. I've been listening to Flesh and Blood recently. Definitely not cheesy back cover here. Definitely didn't dress up at all. So I put it on my wall somewhere. It looks pretty cool. But now to some proper stuff. The Rossington Collins band, This Is The Way. This is a band I don't know much about. I mean, okay, it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's Gary Rossington and Alan Collins, of course, of Leonard Skinner. But I never really heard much about it. They released a few albums, this obviously is one of them. And yeah, I mean, love Leonard Skinner, one of my fave bands, so why not pick up their two amazing guitarists' album. Okay, we have Heart, Love is a Stranger, or this is the French version, it says, I think it's like Bébé l'étranger, which is pretty cool. I like different pressings like that. Yeah, this is a decent Heart album. I like Heart, you know, Heart are great, the Wilson sisters, you know, make some great stuff, and yeah, you know, so that's always cool. We listened to a lot of Boston's first album recently, and when I saw the second album, Don't Look Back, is it called? Yeah, Don't Look Back, I couldn't resist. I mean, and it's the gatefold version, which is always nice. I do love my gatefolds. So yeah, I mean, Boston's first album is epic. This one is, yeah, it's a decent album. Not as good as the first one, but a solid album. Shame it took them like a million years before the third one. I mean, the amount of albums they've, considering how long they've been going, it's ridiculous how little albums they've been making. But apparently Tom Scholz is working on a new album, which would be cool. Though he probably won't be finished, I don't know, in the next 100 years. It's ridiculous, Boston's album cycle. Anyway, Paul McCartney, Band on the Run, or Wings even, Band on the Run. Yeah, I mean, not much to say. I mean, it's a pretty famous album. I'm not a huge Wings fan. You know, I love the Beatles. Paul McCartney's solo stuff, it's decent. You know, it's a bit hit or miss. And it's not the greatest album. I mean, it has some good songs. Obviously, the title track. Yeah, a couple of decent things. I don't think it's really that classic album. It's more just the album cover's cool. But something you see so often on my channel, Mike Oldfield. I need to kind of see how close I am to completing. I'm probably not that close, but the amount of Mike Oldfield stuff I seem to have accumulated over the last year is quite immense. I have a ton of Mike Oldfield, and to myself a bit of a backlog. I have to admit, I haven't got around to quite all the Mike Oldfield. I haven't got around to this. I mean, I know Moonlight Shadow, that's a cool song, but yeah, I have a bit of a Mike Oldfield backlog I really need to address. I just can't resist picking this stuff up. Okay, getting to a bit of Saxon before we get to one of the coolest things. So, Rock the Nations, yeah, I mean, it's 80s Saxon. Yeah, pretty cool. Now this is very cool. This is Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. Now, you know, not exactly an uncommon album, but this is, you know, a single album from, of course, Elton John. Now, the cool thing about this, that I think is just so cool, it's what I found in it. I found this stuff, these two epic booklets. And I'm surprised it still had them, to be honest. This was just one of those bargain boxes things. And yeah, I had this. So here we have the lyrics booklet. Really cool. You don't often see booklets of old sort of 70s albums. Certainly I haven't come across many. And so this is really, really cool. But then, you know, nice artwork and everything. I love this. But then we get this booklet, the song. This is just awesome. I absolutely love this. So it has, you know, just lots of pictures and cutouts, which, you know, it's alright. But the cool thing about this, the Life and Loves of Elton John sort of comic thing. Damn, is this cool? Some sides, I actually learned quite a bit from this. About how he met Bernie Taupin. It's quite funny because at this point, I don't think he's come out as being gay. So it's painting him as a completely straight person, which of course, in retrospect, is really quite amusing. And talking about all his various girlfriends and stuff, which I find quite funny. And really good. I enjoyed this an awful lot. It was just really fun, really novel. I mean, it's hardly amazingly drawn. It's hardly Frank Miller, but it's a funny story. It's done in an interesting way. It's something I've never ever seen before in an album. Something very unique and very pleased it came with it. I was not aware. I've been looking for this album for a while, you know, because I mean it is a famous Elton John album, and also the artwork's cool. But yeah, for it to have these in it, and also considering it's in France, I mean these are in English, so that's always a benefit. My French ain't exactly the greatest, though I did do it for GCSE. I'm pretty crap at it, I have to say. Anyway, yeah, so that's all I have to show for that, I think, pretty epic CDs and vinyl update. So this has been the Album Man. Thanks for watching, comment, subscribe, and as usual, long live rock and roll.